Hello, I'm Don Mitchell. Welcome back to Business Basics, the book that helps you understand how to lead any organization, for profit or nonprofit, much more successfully by adding many more customers or beneficiaries and reducing costs to just a tiny fraction of what they have been, and for helping each individual or organization. And finally, eliminate almost all need for additional capital, perhaps even eliminating much of the capital that's already invested. So today we'll be looking at more ways to attract vast increases in numbers of customers or beneficiaries, and we'll be focusing in lesson 14 on turning scarcity into an advantage and helping to reduce customers' risk of loss. So I'd like to begin, as always, by quoting from the Bible, in this case from the book of First Chronicles, chapter 11, verses 17 through 19, in the New King James Version. And David said with longing, "Oh, that someone would give me a drink of water from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate." So the three broke through the camp of the Philistines, drew water from the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. Nevertheless, David would not drink it, but poured it out to the Lord. And he said, "Far be it from me, O my God, that I should do this. Shall I drink the blood of these men who have put their lives in jeopardy? For at the risk of their lives they brought it." Therefore he would not drink it. These things were done by the three mighty men. Can scarcity be important to creating more sales? Researcher Robert B. Cialdini reports how a friend described an unethical strategy that some toy companies have used to make sales in the United States through creating scarcity. Let's look at this example to begin to understand how scarcity can affect purchasing decisions. Just after Thanksgiving, which occurs in late November in the United States, some toy companies did research to determine which of the year's toys would most excite children when they saw the television ads for their products. Then the toy companies undersupplied toy stores and other toy outlets prior to Christmas, which occurs on December 25th. As the holiday approached, the toy companies and the toy stores would put out press releases about the toy shortages. Such releases hit the television news and the newspapers, stimulating even more interest in the scarce items. Excited youngsters told their parents that they wanted these hot toys as Christmas gifts. Some youngsters negotiated a specific promise from a parent for the toy. Many frustrated parents then could not find the toys and bought other toys as gifts to have the right number of packages under the Christmas tree. Almost all parents ended up buying two sets of Christmas toys. After facing disappointed children on Christmas Day, many parents felt guilty and bought the toy when it became available in January, February, thus spending much more on toys than they had planned. How does psychology work from the child's and the parent's points of view in terms of scarcity and risk of loss? The child will generally want whatever toy is hardest to obtain. Research with 2-year-olds has shown that toys that are placed behind barriers attract children's interest much more than toys that are close at hand. We seem to be hardwired to assume that things that are harder to obtain are more valuable and desirable. Many of us have heard the expression that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, which captures the same psychology. That limited availability is perceived by many as a clue to the quality of the offering. Those who are impulsive in their behavior are most likely to go against anything that restricts or appears to restrict their freedom, and thus will be attracted to whatever is hardest to obtain. There may also be a sense of some bragging rights involved. Others will see you as having higher status and being more desirable if you control something that's scarce. People bid up the value of items with such bragging rights whenever having the items can increase personal popularity. Owning professional sports franchises is a good example. Most owners lose a great deal of money from operations, but the ego gratification from such ownership turns intelligent business people into spending large fortunes for such franchises. Owners are often bailed out from losing money on their investments by selling their teams to a new owner with an even bigger need and greater ability to pay for bragging rights. In the case of parents, they can impress their families and friends with their excellence and devotion as parents by doing whatever it takes to obtain a rare toy. Obtaining the item says the parents are attentive and also have the wherewithal to play aggressively against the other parents and win. Fear of potential loss comes into play as well. In chats with friends and schoolmates, children brag about what they will do when they receive the expected hot item. They plan activities with each other, build around obtaining the toy. Every day the toy is not available causes the child to feel as if he or she has lost something valuable, the chance to have fun with friends in a preferred way that day. Research has shown that people will do 3 or 4 times as much to avoid loss as they will to achieve a gain. So if a scarce opportunity is phrased in terms of what will be lost if the purchase doesn't occur, some people will not want to lose the chance to make that purchase. A more ethical example of this principle occurs on the internet all the time. You're offered some item, course, or program with a limited enrollment, but you must act before a certain time. In fact, the first 10 people to buy may obtain an additional bonus that's available to no one else. There's a reason for the limited time offer in an ethical sense. There's a date when the service will be offered, and the sales must be made before that date. In the case of a seminar, there may also be a limit to the available space. The limited bonus may relate to some generally scarce benefit, such as more access to the seminar speaker by obtaining a front row seat. Jack Canfield has cannily used all these techniques to pack his Breakthrough for Success programs. He once began selling one of these programs by holding free teleseminars that were attended by over 25,000 people. He used these teleseminars to explain the benefits of being one of the program's 400 participants. Can't you just feel your competitive juices rising as you think about gaining an advantage over 24,600 other people? When someone offers me a marketing service, I sometimes find myself tempted to buy something I don't need because of this principle. Salespeople may point out that only 4 people can have access to this service in a given month, and it always seems as if there's a waiting list for the next several months. I feel myself itching to buy even before I get the facts needed to make an objective evaluation of the service's potential benefits. If it's so hard to get, it must be good, right? I often find that such marketing services offer few economic benefits, but may provide many ego rewards, which is the primary reason why the service is so hard to acquire. Just the other day, I saw a gorgeous video book trailer that I would love to have for one of my books. I would have to sell over 3,000 additional books to pay for the trailer, which I very much doubt would happen. But it sure would feel great to watch such a trailer about my book. So far, I've successfully resisted, but that video trailer is clearly on my mind. Why is scarcity treated as being so important by adults? Most people have found from experience that many of the best items and information are in fact restricted. Not everyone can own the nicest home in town. The best investor you know probably has access to information you don't have. Not everyone can belong to the most exclusive club. Not everyone can attend Harvard or Yale. Just as long as the scarcity seems real to a potential buyer, even artificial or temporary scarcity can have big consequences for purchasing. I saw this psychology in action when I visited a Saturn car dealership a few years ago. I was waiting while my car's muffler was replaced, which left me plenty of time to walk around the lot to look at the new models. I was surprised to see 3 sporty-looking new convertibles at the front of the lot. I was even more surprised to see that they were Saturns. I hadn't known that Saturn made such a car. The brand primarily had a good reputation for reliability and low cost. Salesman sauntered by and started a conversation. He began by apologizing for the fact that all 3 cars were sold and no more could be obtained, even except on eBay, where people were paying $10,000 over the invoice price. He also mentioned Saturn had only manufactured 50,000 of these cars for the model year, and he didn't know how many more would be made in the next year. If I wanted to put my name down the waiting list for the next year, he'd be glad to help me. Clearly, putting my name on that list would mean I would feel committed then to act on this year's scarcity next year, when the cars probably wouldn't be scarce at all. But I could feel a strong urge to sign, even though I had no interest in buying any convertible, and certainly not this convertible. If you want to learn more about how marketers can ethically employ genuine scarcity to address customers' Risk of Loss and Increased Sales, I suggest reading Influence by Robert B. Cialdini. So what benefits come from ethically addressing scarcity and fear of loss to stimulate demand for industry offerings? First, you can attract much more attention as potential buyers are concerned that they may lose the opportunity to access scarce and valuable benefits from your offering. Second, if you need or can use that is offered, they'll feel compelled to consider your sales pitches and to give them a fair hearing, even if they aren't looking to buy at that time. Third, if you provide the offering in an acceptable way, they will keep buying and tell others to work with you. Fourth, if demand is stimulated enough, you'll also grow revenues faster than costs and assets, increasing your profit and cash flow as a percentage of revenues. Fifth, if you can grasp a unique form of scarcity, such as providing customers with rare and valuable economic advantages, as well as long-term bragging rights that please customers, you'll have reduced the potential impact of competitors against you by making their offering seem inferior due to the superior benefits, status, and satisfaction your offerings provide to customers. Six, your pricing power will increase because you will now face less competition for customers who favor your offerings. Seventh, mass marketing will work better if you maintain a scarcity advantage. As American Express does with its various elite credit cards, they're harder to obtain than comparable cards offered by other card issuers. With enough of a scarcity advantage, customers' marketing will be remembered by most potential customers as having come from you. So what's the strategic lesson? To expand your market by 20 times through ethically addressing scarcity and fear of loss. Develop as many valuable sources of scarcity as you can among current potential customers for a market you can serve well, and encourage such people to act in ways that are consistent with their desires for scarce benefits and avoiding loss, or you'll be leaving the door open to continuing new entrants who can create scarcity and fear of loss advantages against you. Peter Drucker applied the psychology of scarcity exceptionally well in his consulting practice. He was the most famous management expert on the planet. Many people wanted to consult with him. As an active teacher, he only had a few days a year for consulting. Half of those consulting days he chose to save for nonprofit organizations. If you are a for-profit organization, you knew you had to compete with deep-pocketed clients such as General Electric and General Motors executives who often worked with him. To get on his list of clients was an amazing blessing, conveyed great bragging rights to those who knew him on a first-name basis. Many people were curious about what he was like and what he did as a consultant, and I could dine out for free for the rest of my life solely on the value of that cachet. But Peter pushed scarcity even further. He had a maximum number of days a year he worked with you. This meant that you really paid attention at such times. In some cases, you knew it would be a year before you could see him again. Naturally, you could call in between, but since he was almost stone deaf, even with hearing aids, you knew that a telephone call was agony for both of you. Carol Coles and I scheduled days with Peter whenever we needed to see him or not, just because we knew how few days we would have available while he was still alive. He was over 80 when we started working with him. Naturally, the question of price never crossed our minds. Whatever he asked for his time, we paid. He could have asked 10 times the price, and we would have paid it. The following sections address questions you should consider to appreciate how ethical forces of scarcity and helping customers avoid loss can help to expand your market. What scarcity and risk-related opportunities are available because the market is underdeveloped? Let me quote from Galatians chapter 6, verse 10. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all, especially to those who are of the household of faith. Be careful. When a company or industry is new, there are few people who can provide the expertise that customers and beneficiaries need. If you make scarce personnel available, such access will be considered very valuable to current and prospective customers. There's a catch. Soon your organization won't be able to grow anymore because the people that customers want to access are fully occupied. A better solution is to create access to scarce people and resources in ways that can be greatly expanded. For instance, your company might offer monthly technical conferences where your top people appear and answer questions. Another approach is to create an expert IT system that can be used by those with more limited skills and experience to help customers. Even better, have the expert system be directly available to customers. If you keep upgrading the quality of such scarce resources, you'll have customers who appreciate and make good use of them. You may also find that stockpiling talent will give you an advantage that will be hard to match. Talented people like to work with other talented people, and customers always prefer the best. Carol Coles and I saw this preference for working with the best when we were young professionals at the Boston Consulting Group, better known as BCG. At that point, the firm had 50 consultants in the United States, but more CEOs couldn't get enough of the company's offerings. Why? BCG had made itself the most preferred place to work for the top 1% of students at Harvard and Stanford business schools, the two top-rated business schools in those days. I remember attending a BCG-sponsored conference where the CEOs of Fortune 500 firms outnumbered the professional staff by 3 to 1, and virtually our entire staff was there. Our leader, Bruce Henderson, played a cagey role in making himself available for unlimited free telephone conversations with potential clients. As soon as he had the CEOs intrigued and fascinated, Bruce would turn the prospects over to the rest of us with instructions for what to emphasize, and we would close about half the leads that Bruce gave us. Clients gained a sense from these contacts that Bruce was hoovering over us 20-somethings, even though he often wasn't. BCG strategy is a good ethical application of the principle of scarcity. Another dimension. Most of our CEO clients knew that they couldn't hire the top business students, but they believed that their companies would benefit from help provided by the most talented young people. The CEOs also liked that the firm was small and focused on strategy. They didn't have to worry about their competitors accessing the same expertise, a form of scarcity that made our work more economically valuable to them. So your assignment is to look for ways you can deliver desired benefits that can only flow from scarce resources and are more valuable because the industry is underdeveloped. So next, let's look at what forms of scarcity and risk of loss avoidance can you offer that will impress unconvinced potential customers. And here we're going to one quote from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 66. Your life shall hang in doubt before you. You shall fear day and night and have no assurance of life. When an industry is small, some companies make a mistake by trying to impress potential customers with how large they in the industry are. When you give the impression that customers can sign on at any time and receive optimal benefits, that approach can backfire. A better approach may be to emphasize how small you and the industry are and how scarce access is to your organization. Many professional service firms use retainer agreements to convey this point, and such firms allow retainer clients who pay a regular monthly stipend can receive any services. Someone who wants your services 6 months from now may well begin retainer payments after learning that she or he may not otherwise be able to hire you later. If you avoid setting artificial deadlines and being seen as manipulative by customers, deadlines can help make scarcity clearer. For example, there was a deadline in 1 year for those who wanted to join the Billionaire Entrepreneurs Mastermind. Unless someone came in by that deadline, they could not access the group. Those who missed that deadline fell many years behind those who joined in entrepreneurial knowledge and experience. So your assignment is to develop and communicate new forms of valuable scarcity that can encourage potential customers to act promptly to gain valuable benefits that others will not receive. So next, let's look at how you can recreate the excitement of a new small market with new forms of scarcity and ways of avoiding loss. Here I'm going to quote from the book of Exodus, chapter 16, verses 13 to 15. So it was that quails came up at evening and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay all around the camp. And when the layer of dew lifted, there on the surface of the wilderness was a small round substance, as fine as frost on the ground. So when the children of Israel saw it, they said to one another, what is it? For they did not know what it was. And Moses said to them, this is the bread which the Lord has given you to eat. Many success coaches understand how scarcity can create excitement among those they already coach. Such coaches continually offer new, more extensive, valuable, and expensive programs, allow clients much increased access with the coach. A general coaching program may provide a weekly newsletter and monthly hour-long teleconference during which members ask questions. Those who belong to the general program may later be offered a gold program, which provides daily alerts and a weekly teleconference. The platinum program could later add a one-on-one call every month and an annual 2-day group session at the coach's home, and so on. Each new program excites those who are already enjoying and benefiting from what's going on by adding even more exclusivity built around the coach's scarce time availability. A larger organization can retain can benefit from any preferences for scarce resources by making stars in the field available to just the most valuable customers. Such stars may either be hired for the occasion or be part of the organization's permanent staff. The scarcity value gain access to the stars makes customers want to buy more. It's not unusual to dangle such opportunities before substantial customers who could buy much more but aren't yet interested in doing so. Avis successfully used a similar approach with me through a program that provided CEOs of companies that had exclusive Avis accounts with luxury car rentals at no extra charge over standard rates. I enjoyed driving around the beautiful luxury cars, and my clients enjoyed riding with me after being first assured that I would just pay normal rental rates. Many of my CEO clients switched their company accounts to Avis as well. Your assignment is to locate and provide scarce advantages desired by those who have proved to appreciate your offerings in exchange for increased purchases from your company. So let's look at by how much can helping customers avoid loss of risk due to scarcity help you profitably increase sales. We're going to look at the Book of Lamentations, chapter 5, verses 7 through 9. Our fathers sinned and are no more, but we bear their iniquities. Servants rule over us. There is none to deliver us from their hand. We get our bread at the risk of our lives because of the sword in the wilderness. So there are two elements of answering this question. First, the amount of increased purchasing that occurs. Second, the amount of cost reductions to provide what is scarce or feared to be lost. Providing scarce forms of value can fall anywhere between the extremes of being either expensive or inexpensive to provide. You may be surprised to hear that providing scarce forms of value can be inexpensive. Let me share an example from a research report by Robert Cialdini showing how inexpensive, valuable forms of scarcity can be. One of his students was a successful businessman who owned a beef importing firm. As a test, the student developed 3 scripts for his salespeople to use. In the first script, buyers were offered beef by using the standard sales pitch. In the second script, some customers got the regular pitch plus the information that the supply of beef was likely to be scarce the next few months, a fact. In the third script, some other customers were also given the standard pitch, but then told the supply of beef was likely to be scarce the next few months, and that this information was based on not generally available information. The information they were told came from certain exclusive contacts the company had, which was also a fact. Those who heard the second script bought twice as much beef as those who received the normal pitch, but those who listened to the third script bought 6 times as much. The company soon ran out of inventory. What accurate information about current or future scarcity can you provide to your customers that will stimulate their purchases? Working together to take advantage of scarcity can be highly profitable for customers and their suppliers. Here's an example that I benefited from. Xerox had been a client of Mitchell & Company's for many years. Each senior Xerox executive was required at the time to handle a few accounts just to know what was going on in the industry. We became such an executive account. My client let me know that the first server-based computer networking systems would be available in a few months. Xerox was looking for 5 trial accounts in the early 1980s to run beta tests. The White House, the Pentagon, the Library of Congress, and one other prestigious location already signed up. Did we want to be the 5th? Naturally, I jumped at the chance. Being part of that test gave us an inside view of the new technology, valuable knowledge that we could share with our other clients, and we gained bragging rights for many years. But the cost to us for a beta site wasn't nearly any greater than for any other site. I still feel grateful and closely tied to Xerox for having made this scarce resource available to my firm. Your assignment is to test your best ideas for supplying inexpensive, scarce offerings and information to those who should be ideal users of your offerings in a small community. Measure the results to find out what's working best, then experiment. Again, emphasizing what worked best in another small community. Continue to test and measure in this way. As soon as you find a combination that works very effectively, start expanding what you learned with other customers you can serve well. So I also want to leave you with a few other assignments. How can you attract the best customers first, employing scarcity and reducing fear of loss? And then also I want you to think about how you can change your business model to permit faster growth through supplying productive offers, offsets to scarcity. For this, I want to quote from Isaiah chapter 32, verse 16. Then justice shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remains in the fruitful field. Dell will custom manufacture a personal computer to meet your specifications, yet charge no more for the service, and usually ship it within a day or two. This approach provides a scarce resource, a customized computer that better meets your needs at no extra cost or price. Your increased personal productivity from the customization will probably be so great that the computer is effectively free. Customization can provide other kinds of benefits. For instance, some years ago it first became possible to buy customized books for children that were filled with references to the child's name, birthday, friends, and so on. Children were thrilled by such customizations that often cost just a little extra. Today, there is often no additional charge for print-on-demand publishers who do more extensive versions of such customization. How can you deliver highly preferred customization at lower reduced costs? And finally, how can you locate and attract undiscovered potential customers to apply more powerful forms of scarcity? And here I'd like to quote from Genesis chapter 42, verse 2. And he said, "Indeed, I've heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down to that place and buy for us there, that we may live and not die." Most offerings have major problems or drawbacks. Offering providers like to avoid owning up to such problems. Can you provide a solution to or a new way to limit such problems? Dell, for instance, knows that it's hard to obtain hardware service if you own just one computer. By partnering with the largest and most reliable network for providing hardware service, Dell became a preferred supplier for many computer customers and users who don't care whether their machines are customized. In professional services, clients often care more about the benefits they gain than about what it costs to obtain and apply the benefits. The single idea from a service provider may triple a client's value received from a professional engagement. Yet most professionals are out of contact with their clients after completing the initial engagement. By instead offering once a month follow-up service for 10% of the initial engagement's price, professional service firm might be able to add great value at low cost to its clients and for itself. By making such a service unique compared to competitors by adding client value, a professional service firm may expand the market well beyond its current dimensions. So your assignment is look for valuable, scarce offerings that you can make to customers and prospects that will greatly enhance their perceptions and estimates of the value that they will receive from your kind of offering. Be particularly attentive to ways of reducing any risk of loss. So thanks for your attention to this rather long lesson, but I think it's an important one, so I hope you didn't mind my going into more detail. So until we speak again, may God bless you, your family, and all you do in the name of Jesus. Goodbye for now.